The one and only Xylophoney here to showcase you guys my completed competitive Gladiator Beast deck. I've used this one a few times in just deck duels and stuff like that, and against like medium tier decks, it does pretty well. But I think I've perfected it, honed the edges a little bit, and made it so we can actually slightly do okay against some more mainstream decks. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. And of course, leave a pinky on that like button if you're excited to see the return of deck builds, because I got like 4 of them I want to show you guys, and they're gonna come piling in. So anything you've seen me use before and use with some competence, let me know and I'll perfect it and try to give a special deck profile video to you. But this one, once again, without further ado, we have Gladiator Beasts. So it's all about this new guy, Yugioh. And Yugioh is pretty sweet. I have 3 of them in the deck, just in case, one gets nullified. You often need to run through 2 of these guys in a duel, and 3 is easily possible for you to need. Now, the benefit of him is when you use Yugioh, he's not that special. He attacks, and he does the Gladiator Beast thing where he summons 2 from the deck. Benefit is, he summons 2 from the deck. And he's made with 2. You can see where this continues. So Yugioh attacks. Not to mention he can attack monsters as stronger than him and not die, because it cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated until the end of the damage step. So this is a very safe play. To bring this guy out, attack anything, even if you have to take a little bit of a hit of life point damage, then you special summon 2 Gladiator Beast monsters. The benefit here is, 1, if you do have some powerful monsters on the field that you need to get rid of, pull out your Murmillo, destroy it. If you have some trap cards or, powerful spell cards, field card on the field you need to get rid of, Bestiari, bring him out, activates the effect. He is just a free use of your Gladiator Beast effects, because once you got those cards out on the field, that's 2 cards on the field, then you just, link them right back into a Yugioh, and you have him for next turn, if he does survive, that is. Which, with 2,000 attack points, it's not the worst thing. Anyway, the other plays you can do with Yugioh is, of course, go into things such as Darius to, bring something back from the graveyard, Augustus to 1/2 power and bring something from your hand, and then other things that'll help you out a little bit. But let's run through everything in the deck. So Augustus, main powerhouse, attack with any of these monsters successfully and you can bring him from the deck. His benefit is that he can also, not only being powerful, he can special summon a card from your hand for the turn. One use of this is you special summon a card from your hand, and then you can go into Yugioh, so that's useful. The other use is if you already have Yugioh, and you bring out Augustus, then you can bring out another monster. Usually it's really convenient to bring out either another Augustus or Noxious, and then you can go into something such as Tamer Editor, and we'll get into that guy soon enough. So that's a very effective means. If not, you can just do that and then, attack things. That's kind of cool. But you got to use the card you special summon with Augustus right away, because he goes away otherwise. Well, back into your deck, so it's not the worst thing. Especially considering most Gladiator Beast decks you want in your deck rather than your hand, so you can actually use them. Then we have Noxious. Noxious is a nice safe card to have 3 of, because if you have this in your hand and no other plays, your opponent attacks you, special summon him from your hand. Not to mention he can go into Tamer Editor, but he also isn't destroyed by battle. So that's pretty handy. He can also throw cards into the graveyard to prepare your Darius to resurrect them with his effect. So that's nice. Then we got 1 Liquari, just so we can bring out certain Gladiator Beast monsters. We only need 1 of these. We have Prisma. Prisma's good because it sends 1 to the graveyard, which once again can activate Darius or a quest effect. And once it does that, you have that monster's name on the field. So you can then go into Test Tiger or get in any other way you have, get another monster onto the field, and you should be just fine. Then we have our Darius. Darius, when he's special summoned, he's able to bring something back from the grave. Any other Gladiator Beast monster. It doesn't get its effect, but if you use Darius, bring something back, you can go into Yugioh. So what I like doing is when I attack with Yugioh, is he goes, attacks, you bring 2 cards to the field. I love to have 1 of those cards be Darius, because when you bring Darius back, he brings out a 2nd card, and those 2 cards are the cards you bring into your other Yugioh. And the other card Yugioh brings back is going to be whatever you want. Could be Augustus to go into a Tamer Editor play. Could be, I don't know, if you need to destroy spell cards, Bestiari. Could be Murmillo, whatever you need. And in that case, you might want to send Murmillo back to your deck instead, because he's best used in the deck. Then we have a quest in case you need to get a card back from your graveyard. It's never fun to have your Augustus or your Murmillo in the graveyard when you might need it. You have Bestiary, which is all about that trap and spell destruction, which you kind of usually need a lot of. Then we have Secutor. There's a few plays that make Secutor extremely useful. Secutor is really hard to use because he has no attack points, but if he has a successful attack after being special summoned by a Gladiator Beast, he is able to summon 2 Gladiator Beasts. So this tiny little guy is just as effective as Dragasius and just as effective as Augustus. So he attacks, and the way you can use that is with the card down here, Pianissimo. That gives him a free attack, or any of the other Gladiator Beasts a free attack, where you might take some damage, but you won't die. So that's nice. I also can run Wabuku in this deck, because once again, you might take damage, but you won't die. So that's good. And then Book of Moon, send him to defense mode, take damage, but you don't die. It's really convenient. Also, there's a couple other things around here that I believe can help that out a little bit, but we'll see if we get to those. Murmillo is in here as your main monster destruction. Activate his effect, you just kill a monster. Nice and simple. Always run one in here because you use the effect, then you get him out of there as soon as possible. We have Test Tiger. Test Tiger is really handy to draw into early game, because if you get the Test Tiger, then you can essentially bring out your... well, you can't bring out Dragasius necessarily, but you can bring out Augustus. And through Augustus, if he can stay on the field, you get to bring out Dragasius. So it's pretty convenient. Test Tiger activates one of your Gladiator Beast monsters, sends him back to the grave, then you can pull anything out from the deck, as we've mentioned before, all of the many possibilities. And then for the last monster, we have a Maxi, because, you know, hand traps are kinda good. You can even run any kind of hand trap you want in here, but point is you want to have a lot of your Gladiator Beast monsters, because they're the core of this deck. We can't go stuffing it with hand traps. Although hand traps are so good that that wouldn't necessarily be bad. This deck's not super competitive anyway, it doesn't need to be different. Anyway, we have a Hero Lives. Now we're only running one of this card because you're never going to use it twice, for example. And it's taxing. You need to pay half your life points, but you can bring out a free Elemental Hero Prisma. Then you'll be able to use that, activate the effect, send something to the grave, then summon another monster, and you'll be able to go into Dragasius. So this card's all about Dragasius, and we've talked about his benefits. We got Raigeki because, you know, it's good. We got Gladiator's Return because we mentioned how useless these guys are once they're in the graveyard. Gladiator Proving Ground, usually not the most necessary card, but if you definitely need something in your hand, then it's good to have. Also, if you need to get something to activate Gladiator Beast's Respite, meaning you shuffle 2 Gladiator Beasts back from your hand into the deck, then it's also very useful. Because then, say you have 1 Gladiator Beast and 1 Proving Ground in your hand, grab another Gladiator Beast, and then you can do this and draw 3 cards. Which, considering like all the cards in this deck are useful, it's usually worth it. We have a Pot of Desires, just running one of them. This deck could potentially use a little more draw power, but it shuffles cards in and out so often you don't necessarily need it. And Pot of Desires, of course, is risky as always. You could lose your Augustuses. You could lose your Laquari. You could lose your Murmillo, which would kind of be huge, and that's not even a low chance of that happening. I mentioned Book of Moon. It helps you freely attack things, only taking damage. Same with Pianissimo. And then Fire Formation Tensu lets you normal summon an additional monster, just so you can go into those Dragasius plays. And of course, you know, it also gives you a little bonus attack points. Wabukus help you attack things, and then Solemns are just good. Now you could run yourself some War Chariots, but Solemns might just be a little bit better, because you usually don't need to damage your life points too super heavily anyway. Well, that's a lie, sometimes you need to do it to get the effects off. But I like Solemns. And these are essentially just very specific Solemns, and if you get this stuff set up without having a Gladiator Beast on the field, if your opponent, you know, Ghost Ogres it away or something, then you're going to want to have this so you can actually stop your opponent's special summons and effects. And, you know, it's good. Then we have our extra deck here. We have 2 Heraclinos because this thing is insane. This is probably my favorite of the deck. Oh, that's maybe not true. They're all my favorite. Anyway, this one is really good because this is what you bring out to say, hey, you can't do much anymore. This is an extremely powerful attack monster, but that's not even the best part about him. The best part about Heraclinos is that he essentially, and this is why we got the Laquari in the deck so we can bring him out, he can stop your opponent from using spell and trap cards just by discarding a card. Now, this isn't a deck that loves to discard too much, so that's not necessarily the best thing, but if you're going to stop your opponent's major plays, it's completely worth it. And you usually run some cards in your hand you don't need, because once again, the Gladiator Beasts aren't super useful in your hand. And, as we mentioned before, we have Gladiator's Return to get those cards right back into your deck. So, we also have Neurokius. This card is good if you can bring him up and then go into your battle phase, because he is, your opponent cannot activate cards and effects in the damage step. So he's essentially a really tough-looking, powerful Utopia. And he has a little benefit that once you attack, you can special summon 2 Gladiator Beast monsters, do all that nonsense we've talked about before. Tamer Editor. This is a card you want to bring out when you already got Dragasius on the field, because you summon Tamer Editor with whatever else you have, usually an Augustus and an Noxius, because you need to use these tough guys to bring him out. That's how he's fusion summoned. And then you can go into either your Heraclinos or your Neurokius. And that's usually what you want to go into, because these are the more expensive ones. But you could potentially go into your Gyzaris. Gyzaris is good because he will send 2 monsters away, or destroy them rather, right? Yeah, as long as you can target something, you're going to destroy it. That brings us to Endabata. Now this card is a lot more specific. This is when you already have Dragasius out and you aren't able to go into your Tamer Editor, as if you only have 1 Augustus and then 2 other monsters, which is quite possible if you do the whole play where you bring out the Darius, summon something from your graveyard, and then don't have another card in your hand when you pull out Augustus. So that means you will only have enough to bring out this guy. Fortunately, he'll let you do something very similar to Tamer Editor and summon another monster. However, it has to be one of these weaker monsters here. Fortunately, Gyzaris is very useful, being able to destroy your enemy's cards, and Asdari has a little bit of power to him. Asdari's probably the least used in this deck, but he's the easiest to summon, and, you know, he's got a little something power to him, so that's decent. Of course, since we have, you know, double Augustus in here, and sometimes it's just worth bringing out ourselves a Hope Harbinger that's in here, because why not? We have Silent on our Arc, because there's a lot of level 4s, and why not? There's plenty of XE cards you could throw in here and replace these 2 with. I just tend to use these guys every now and then, so that's good. We have ourselves a Decode Talker, which isn't that good. You could take him out if you wanted to. And then, as I mentioned before, triple Dragasius. Other cards that you might be interested in using in this deck are over here. You can always add a second Hero Lives or a second Pot of Desires if you're willing to take the risk, if you need that spell destruction. I would actually say not no on the Twin Twisters. Add different spell destruction, because once again, you don't want to discard these cards. So go for a Cosmic Cyclone or something along those lines. We got Half Shot and Pianissimo, which will essentially do a similar thing. It doesn't really matter a ton. We have Fire Formation Tenki, which, ooh, I did want to add a couple into here. Yeah, we're going to swap that out for one of these. You know, you can do it. These are interchangeable. It's just this is slightly more depending on if you want to have the slots available. Fortunately, you know, there's only 4 traps in here anyway, so you'll probably have the back row slots. And then the War Chariot, as we mentioned. This isn't a side deck. This is just other cards you could potentially do. Now, let's test this deck out. I think Mario's available, so let's see if he wants to fight something. And let's have him use something pretty decent. Now it's time to test this deck. And I'm going to employ Mario to see if he can beat it. And Mario, you're using a pretty serious deck. What are you using?
You remember that Goki one? I realized I was missing a few cards for it. Such as the Master Ogre, one of the strongest Goki card.
Alright, well, I'll let you have the first turn. Let's see what you got. Ooh, I don't have an insane hand, but I can make stuff happen with this.
Well, I'll play up the backup squad.
Alright. Deathmatch! Oh yeah, these stupid wrestlers, that's what these guys are. It's alright, the beasts will give you a fight. I'm looking at my Laquari right now, got his fists at the ready.
Then I'll just normal summon Twist Cobra, and I'll just end the turn there.
Alright. So let's see what I can do. I have plenty of plays available right now, but I'm going to see if I can open up some other ones by using Gladiator Beast or Spite. Send 2 Gladiator Beasts. I had this card and a bunch of other monsters in my hand, which isn't the worst thing, because you need a monster to open up, but sometimes you want a little something else. So let's get these cards thrown into the deck, and cool, I pulled out a few more options. I don't think I need more options right now, but I think I'm going to test this thing out. Because I want to try to get some power on the field as soon as possible, and I want to get your field card off the field as soon as possible. So, let's go crazy and activate a Hero Lives. This way I can bring out my Elemental Hero Prisma, And it doesn't really matter who I turn him into, because I'm just going to use him for link summoning. So let's just go since it's going to go. Let's see. Let's use this guy since we're sending something to the grave. I don't want it to be one of my Augustuses with the other card. And then we'll just summon another Gladiator Beast monster. Could be either of these guys. I think I'm going to make it this because I know it's about to... Actually, when I link it, it's going to go into the grave. So I'll do this because I want to send this one back into my deck so we can use it later. And I will go into Dragasius. So I can get rid of that by getting rid of these two. And hello, world! Now, at this point, I could bring out my Test Tiger, but it's not really going to do anything good for me. What I want to do is just attack. I don't have any other major plays. So let's see what happens when I fight this thing. Nothing crazy, right? But now the craziness happens. Now he goes away and I can bring 2 cards out. Now the 2 cards I'm going to bring, there's a lot of possible options right now. I can go into Darius, so I can bring 2 monsters out, 1 from the graveyard. I can go into Augustus, so I can bring 2 out, 1 from my hand. Or I can go into Bestiari, so I can bring 1 from, essentially, well, just destroy that deathmatch card. So I think Bestiari is definitely going to be one of them. And the other is going to be, let's go with Augustus, because I got plenty of Gladiator Beasts in my hand, and I think I see a play that, nah, I don't have that play available. So, wait, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. No, I don't. I'm thinking, okay. So I'm going to bring out Darius so I can get an additional card. Just because why not? I'm going to turn these back into the Gladiator Beast Dragasius anyway. So let's get you, and here's where Darius comes into play. Well, first we can use this and destroy the deathmatch, and Darius can get us back a card from here. Now, I believe this card won't have its effect, so we'll just grab Bestiari for show so we can possibly get it back into the deck here. Ta-ta-ta. And it'll say I can activate it, but as you can see, no effect there. So now main phase 2, I am going to go into Dragasius. Ta-da! And I still have the Test Tigers that I haven't used yet, and there's a random Gladiator Beast on my field, so why not? Got multiple Test Tigers.
This is just weird.
What?
Do you know the effect of the Gokis is when they're sent from the field to the graveyard, no matter how you did it, I get to add another Goki card. It didn't prompt it for me.
Ah, well, this ain't about your Gokis, this is about the beasts. So let's get rid of Bestiari, and with that we can bring out another card. In fact, I think I know a play here. We're going to bring out Augustus, and his effect, when he's summoned by a Gladiator Beast monster, he can bring out another one. So we're going to grab this Noxious here, specifically because he's 5-star. Don't need to use his effect right now to send anything to the graveyard. It's not always the most important, but from here we can get Tamer Editor out, who, 1, is a fairly powerful monster. But 2, he has a nice little bonus effect, meaning he can summon another fusion monster. So we'll do just that. Now, since we've already made a move, I think what we're going to do is try to get something safe on the field. Obviously, if our opponent has lots of cards, we can go right into Gazaris here and clear his field. As Dari is just raw power, but we want either Neurokius or Heraklinos. So I'm thinking we are going to need to go with our Heraklinos. So if he tries to activate any cards, we'll be able to counter them, and we should be in good shape. This puts us in a position where that's the end of our turn. Or I could Test Tiger again, get rid of Tamer Editor, switch him out for Augustus, but there's not a huge point in doing that. I want to save a couple cards in my hand in case Mario here has got some big plays. But, decent start, huh?
Yeah, I just kind of wish I had to play from Twist Cobra. For some reason, it did not prompt me. And it was just a normal Destroy by Battle, which beats the Field to Grave.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe it has something to do with my effect activating and it messing it up. I don't know. Well,
anyway, I activate the Assault Hellbird.
Alright, makes sense. Free summon.
Then Suplex. Then overlaying these 2.
Ah, Utopia. That'll be able to get through my stuff. Well, certain stuff. So he's going into Utopia Prime, probably into Utopia Lightning, I'm assuming.
More than likely.
I'm still deciding. Let me figure this out. And then, I want you to attack Dragasius if you wouldn't mind, because I want to see if his effect will work.
Oh, nothing can activate in response to his attacks.
Exactly. So let's see what happens. I'm a little curious myself. And
I want to get rid
Dragasius
of.
is
I want to
one
get
of-
rid of your Tamer Editor though.
Tamer Editor is not going to do much else. I already got a slot filled up, and he needs to have an empty slot. But Dragasius cannot be destroyed by battle. That's his effect.
Is that a continuous thing?
I believe so. So I'll take a massive amount of damage, but Utopia goes through it. Alright. And you still have cards to activate if Heraclinos messes with you. Okay. So I'm going to need to make a play here. I do have a Test Tiger, and I think I know just what to do with the Test Tiger. Actually, I can activate the Tamer Editor and just use the Link slot, so I suppose I might as well do it. But I said that wasn't going to be important, so maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should.
That was my original target to take out your Tamer Editor.
That's fair. I will play this game, and I will normal summon my Gladiator Beast Secutor. Just a random fodder to use. And I'm going to special summon the Test Tiger. Test Tiger activating his effect. I will send Secutor away. And now I can special summon a nice little Murmillo. Murmillo's effect, of course, destroy one monster on the field. Nice and convenient. Now, what I can do is I could go with 2 of these monsters into yet another Dragasius, which would probably be a good idea considering there's a clear field and I can use more effects, including the effect to get rid of your last spell card on the field. However, I'll do a little more damage with Tamer Editor, but damage isn't the most important thing right now. So let's try to get the combos set up here. Go into Dragasius. I should have actually put him on the other side because then it would free up another 2 slots rather than just 1. But it probably won't make a big difference anyway. So let's go into battle. Dragasius attack directly. Now it's not going to kill this turn, but I'm going to be in an extremely good situation. Because now...
Okay, there's nothing activating, not even my backup squad, which is supposed to activate.
Huh.
You see, every time I take 1,000 damage from battle or card effect, I draw 1 card.
Oh, yeah.
I think something's...
Backup squad might not be working perfectly right now. Well, either way, I'll get rid of it for you. We'll bring out... Since I don't have any monsters in my hand right now, Augustus isn't a big play.
Oh, it's your Dragasius. If your Gladiator Beast monster attacks, it cannot...
You can't activate effects during the battle phase. Okay, yeah.
Damage step.
Yeah, damage. Same thing. Alright, so we'll do that so we can get that onto the field. And then for the other one, now I think we're going to go for that Darius.
That was, funny enough, I think that's why Twist Cobra didn't activate either.
So there we go. We can get rid of the backup squad. Yeah, that's another benefit of having Dragasius on the field. Even though he isn't as strong as the other Gladiator Beasts, he's got a little bonus to him. So we're going to do this, and I can special summon a monster. Now, I can get the Tamer Editor or Dragasius just with Darius's effect, so I might as well get Dragasius. And I can put him wherever I want, so actually I should have gotten Tamer Editor. But I'll do Dragasius. But he loses his effect. Oh well, I think I have a plan. I have a crazy enough plan, it just might work.
Raigeki.
Nope. I'm going to use Dragasius to get another Dragasius. There we go. Now, since I've already battled, he's not going to get to use any of his effects, but it's really convenient to have this guy on the field, as we've been realizing. And I'm going to keep a card in my hand. I could set it as a bluff, but I want to be able to activate Heraclinos' effect. So the one weakness on my field right now is that Darius. With the life points as low as I am, we saw my beginning. It could be a little risky. But I also have the ability to block most of his potential plays. So, you got anything?
Well, I can normal summon my Scorpio.
Ooh, cuts it close, but not quite enough.
I guess your Dragasius is the bigger threat, just to get rid of.
And here's the other thing. Oh, yeah, you can kill him. Oh, man. Fine. It's when I attack, I can't be destroyed by battle. So, oh, man, I wanted to get another Gladiator Beast so I could show off this effect. Yeah, I could bring out Dragasius and attack one of his monsters, and normal problem with Gladiator Beast, you have to be able to keep him on the field. He keeps himself on the field, so even if you get turn 2 and your opponent already has a tough monster, you can still use his effects, pull out a Murmillo, and kill whatever challenge is in front of you. But I think here, we're just going to make sure we finish this. So, Darius will... Ooh, is the math not there? I don't think I'm going to finish it this turn. But we'll have a pretty good setup. So, I don't think there's anything crazy I could go into right now unless I wanted to do Dragasius, and that would put me at a even, you know, in a similar place. So, let's go into battle. Let's attack with Heraklinos. Da 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 da.
Ooh,
there you go. Now it gets
finally. I can finally get my Goki rematch.
Oh boy. I'll attack you with this. And main phase 2, Darius's effect is going to kick in. He goes in to bring out... Who do we want? There's no spell cards to get rid of. Secutor doesn't have any ability to work with right now, so it seems like a very standard Augustus moment. However, I could do a few things here. So let's... I think I just want to go into Augustus. Now, obviously, I could activate the effect, get another Augustus out here, and then get a Tamer Editor out here. But I don't really need that right now. I'm just going to keep Augustus on the field, because I want to keep a Gladiator Beast in my hand so I can maybe use this Respite at some point. Because right now, the only thing Tamer Editor would be, since I already got a really good monster on the field, is just attack points. And at 700 life points, I don't know if I want to risk a Dragasius out there in this phase. So, we'll do this, not use that effect, and end the turn. Because if I just brought him out there just to keep him, he would have gone away next turn anyway, so we don't want that. And I'll end my turn. Let's see if you can bring this back.
Well, let's special summon the Assault Halberd. Activating Feast of the Wild level 5, which will allow me to bring back my level 5s from the grave.
Special summon, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I forget if I need to block this or rematch. But we will activate this. Heraklinos, get rid of the Respite, and cancel that.
Then I'll activate the rematch.
I felt like those both would do the same thing, wouldn't they?
Yep.
Up. Luckily, I have another card. I can keep going.
Oh, you can activate that more than once?
Yes, I can, as long as I have cards in the hand.
That is broken.
It's not broken. It's just good. Look, I have no cards in my hand now. Do something else. Oh, you can't. And it's only spell or traps. I can't do it on effects. As you
I know.
before.
It's just a lot of these cards now, whenever they get printed, they can only do it once per turn.
Yeah. Well, look at that. We got Gladiator Proving Ground, so we can get another thing. It's not going to be anything too crazy. It's just another Gladiator Beast. But with this, I could go into another Dragasius, for example, so I can cancel out the effects of his stuff. We have the game already, just through straight attacking, but just to show you the play, put a random Gladiator Beast out there. Special summon into... Ooh, do I have any Dragasius left? I have one left. Now, I'm sure you could run a deck with this with just a simple one Dragasius, or two Dragasiuses rather. I run 3 just because I don't know what else to put in the extra deck. There's probably some better cards. It's fine. We're just going to attack with this because it's going to be the end anyway. And that is Gladiator Beasts. Even up against Gokis, something pretty scary. They have good potential.
It's just I had a really bad hand to start off with, too.